Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys awesome interviews. And today it is an honor and privilege to have Moscow on the line with me. She has a debut EP out right now called Queen of Sin, and this is a pretty awesome EP. It's got metal, rock. It's got a lot of diversity on this, so we're going to be talking to her about that. And, man, another female in the rock community, that's exactly what we need. We need more women to stand out and do more stuff like this. So, Moscow, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you so much for a great introduction.
Let's jump right into this. What's impressed you the most about making the debut EP, Queen of Sin? What's caught your eye or impressed you the most about it so far?
Well, I'm just in general excited to finally have my music out. I've been working on it for a little less than a year now, but it's been a long 21 years, coming out to this moment. This EP has all different kind of sounds, like you mentioned, the post-hardcore metal. We have a hard rock ballad out there, just like a little mix of Moscow, everything that inspires me, everything I admire. We all try to put into those 5 songs.
How was
on the EP.
How was working with producers Sean McKee, he's with Hideout Studios, he's worked with Hell Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch, Papa Roach, plus Brian Steele Medina. He's worked with Gemini Syndrome and Hatebreed, Escape the Fate, and upcoming Boston producers. How was working with these gentlemen on this?
Oh, amazing. I met Sean McGee and Brian at the time when last Papa Roach album dropped, and I was really enjoying the sound, and I wanted to create something with a similar sound. I was really inspired by that, and accidentally, word of mouth, I got introduced to Sean and Brian. And a week after that, I flew to Vegas to write and record these 3 songs. We did 4 songs with them, and that was pretty exciting. I like to work fast, so we've done them. We wrapped it all up in a week. And then I met the other guys from Boston, Sean and Mark, and we did Black Widow, which is, by the way, secretly, I'm going to tell you, this is my favorite song of the EP.
Uh-huh.
And it just happened so that we kicked in. We just got locked in the studio together, and by the evening, we had Black Widow done.
Any songs off the Queen of Sin EP that are standing out more to you than any? I know you said you had a favorite, but are there any others that are sticking out more possibly?
Well, they all have very different sounds, and I can relate to all of that, in different points of my life.
Right.
I mean, I have a slow ballad, which is real live. Performing live, I have a growly song, which is so much fun to play live. Usually comes to the shows, but definitely Black Widow. Black Widow is my favorite one, but I have a little story about all of them. I mean, it's just 5 of them, so I love all of them. They're my children.
Let me ask you this, though. Since you put out this EP, will they be possibly a full length with these songs on them or just new stuff?
I can't really answer this question just yet.
Okay.
I mean, we're in the making of the new and the full-length album right now, so we don't know yet if we're going to add on the songs to that or just release something completely brand new. I just live in the moment. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's the best way to be. How much growth musically have you seen yourself go through up to the release, or this EP, I'm sorry?
Well, I like to say that I not advance, but I like to grow daily, I like to evolve, that's the word, daily, even music-wise. And my taste will flow with whatever mood I'm in, I mean, I can't even predict what kind of music will I like tomorrow. Maybe it's going to be pop. I mean, I will always stick to my guns. Rock and roll is my main attention for sure, but I'm not scared of adding some, some hip-hop maybe in the future. Or as I mentioned, I have some alternative sound in it. I like to mix Britney Spears with Rob Zombie. We're not scared to experiment with those sounds.
Ooh,
but
yeah,
it's just whatever I feel like on a daily basis. And I think music always evolves every day, and pretty much all genres have been invented by now. So as of now, it's just how you take best parts of all of them and put into something brand new.
Moscow, do you do anything differently that helps you to write lyrics and keep your mind open to new stuff when you're writing your music and everything?
Not really. Most of my lyrics are based on the literature I read. I mean, I rarely write about something that has happened to me, in the moment, about like some events or whatever in my life, because I try to keep my life balanced. I'm like always positive, always happy. So it's hard for me to write sad songs while I'm in this mood. So it's basically like philosophy. I'm very inspired by philosophies, different genres, and then like my friends' stories. I like to hear what they're going through, and that's what basically inspires me to write more lyrics and more words. I just love poetry. I love words,
What do you hope fans take away from the new EP, Queen of Sin? Once they start to listen to this, what do you hope that they take away from it?
Well, first of all, hopefully they're going to be familiar with the Moscow band. But also, as a secret, I really think there's not enough female rock artists right now out there. I mean, this is a men's world, and I love it. But we can rock as well, and we can rock pretty hard. As of the EP, I mean, my main message in it, if you take like all songs in general and like put them into one sentence, would be just don't be afraid to embrace who you are. Don't be afraid of some like higher power or your parents or the society or like whoever gets to this blocks of like being yourself. Just don't be afraid to say no to that. And embrace who you really are and what really makes you happy. Just go and do that,
Yeah, and you're right. There are some amazing female rockers out there. Christina Scabula from Lacuna Coil. You've got September Morning.
Yeah.
You've got Lizzie Hale. Lita Ford is still out there rocking it,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Mary Brink, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the $1 million question for you. What can fans expect at a show from you when they come to see you live?
Well, we just played festival in Vegas. As of now, we're talking about touring, but like all the info is going to be updated on the website, moscowofficial.com. So I can't really drop any information about that yet, but you definitely should stay tuned to that.
I'm hitting all the right questions. I want to talk about this a little bit for folks that don't know. From the age of 15, you were part of the Russian music scene. In the Russian market, it was dominated by pop music during that time. What turned you on to metal and rock world of music? Was it hard to get it over there at that time? Or let's talk about that. What introduced you to it?
My boyfriend. At the time, I'm going to be honest with you. I was a pretty proper girl before I met that headbanger, But I was never happy in my circles. I knew there's something different that is going to drive me away from my casual lifestyle. So I got introduced to the rock circle at a pretty young age. I mean, I was around 15 at the time, but don't tell it to my boyfriend. He was much older than that. I always had my fake ID with me. And I just discovered the rock circles, and I loved the freedom that those musicians had. They just went out and did whatever made them happy, Also playing music day by day, and as for a 15-year-old girl, that was all fascinating. So back then I was like, okay, I can do it as well. I don't want to be just a groupie. I don't want to just hang out with those people. I want to be one of the rock stars. I always wanted to be Tommy Lee as of that.
Nice.
I never wanted to be Pamela Anderson. When I was as a kid, I was looking at those pictures. I'm like, I want to be Tommy Lee. So, and I never pursued music back in Russia because I knew there is no market for where I'm going with it. Russian music is dominated by pop. And not as a popular, but as a really pop music, cheap ass beats and sounds. But so I moved. I started traveling. I moved all over the world. I lived in London, in France for a little, and we lived in New York. But so rock and roll brought me to LA. I mean, where else would you go when Whiskey Go Go and Sunset Strip is located right in here, right in the center of California?
Yeah, it sucks that we lost Lemmy too, because the Rainbow was his place out there, man. You'd always.
Oh, I know.
You'd always catch Lemmy out there at his little slot machine playing it at the end of the bar.
I know. I think I met that guy. Thank God I met him before.
That's awesome. Do you like the digital era of recording albums and plus social media the way it is right now? Since you're in this era of the way it is right now for music, do you like this a lot?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of social media. I know lots of kids from this field, the social media as a whatever it is, they say that's there's a triple threat. It's musician, acting, and dancing. And now there's social media. I know many of them. I don't dig it, but I know this is a must-do for a 21st century artist, no matter what, because internet is everything. I mean, if you don't do your social media, how will you get discovered? Back in the days musicians used to put their posters, on the street, like Motley Crue did, and people would go and see whatever's happening in the venue right at the day of the performance. Right now, you have to really involve the digital circles in it. I'm not a fan of it, but I love posting selfies here and there.
What do you bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, Moscow?
Well, first of all, how many Russian-born rock singers do you know? But also, as in the long run, I would like to bring rock back to the mainstream. I think this is the right timing when rock has been out of the cliche of the popular music for a while. And I think the audience is slowly rolling back into it. We're like digging the heavier sounds. We're digging the more like street looks, and like badass attitude. So in the long run, I would really like to mix the glamour of the pop scene with like the underground of rock and roll.
Are you getting support from your homeland, Russia? I mean, let's talk about that a little bit. Or is anybody reaching out to listen to your music and everything that you know of, possibly from over there?
I'm still friends with most of my Russian community, but I'm more concerned about the USA market. I mean, maybe once I will go back there, and like whenever we tour Europe and Russia is going to be definitely included. But I'm definitely both feet are in the USA right now. That's for me.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark that said that's exactly what I want to do?
That's an interesting one. I mean, I always loved the stage. I always knew I'm going to be a performer at a time. I mean, my whole life is how did Shakespeare said, all your life is a stage? That's exactly a quote for me, right? Mm-hmm. So I knew I'm going to be connected with performing arts at some point. So I have a degree in musical theater, which is like dancing and singing and acting. And singing just did it for me much more than the rest of it. I still enjoy dancing and I still enjoy acting here and there, but rock and roll is definitely, it just defines me. I mean, the music itself, I don't even remember myself living without music. It was always a part of who I am.
If you could work with any musician, past, present, or any band, past or present, who would you work for a night? Just with one band, or dead or alive?
One band? I have to choose.
Okay, I'll give you two.
Two bands. Well, I have a whole to-do list coming to that. Like past, present, I'm definitely going to do something with those guys. But I would say Motley Crue, because Motley Crue was one of my first favorite all-time bands. I'm a Crue head for sure. Unfortunately, they're not together anymore. So working with one of them, like Tommy Lee, as I mentioned, or like Nick Six, is in my to-do list. Yeah, that one. What? It's a hard one. I can't choose one out of my 100. Let's just leave it with Motley Crue, because that one is definitely my number one.
Moscow, how can folks pick up this EP, follow your tour dates when you go on tour, things like that? How can they do that?
Follow my social media that we were talking about a little while before, or visit the website, which is moscowofficial.com. And we also post everything on the Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. But the easiest one would be the website, for sure. You
definitely have full support on BODS Mayhem Hour. Anytime you want to come back on the show or announce anything, just never hesitate to reach out to us, okay?
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Hey, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Okay. Hey, this is Moscow, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber City Radio. Thank you, Moscow.
Thank you. Have a good one.